Welcome back, everybody, to the Baltimore Orioles franchise here in MLB The Show 23. And if you're new, thanks for popping in and seeing what we have going on. We are currently first in the AL East, sitting at 21-14 after what I believe is a very surprising start to the season, one that I didn't see coming at all. We swept the Yankees here, a 4-game sweep, and we are at 21-14. I did sim this first start of the week of May where we end up splitting a 4-game series here with the Rays. And we have split the first 2 games here with the Mets. And first things first, I want to take a look at some of these statistics as we have a lot of players who are playing lights out right now. Santander, rough start to the season, up to a 279 average, hitting 4 home runs. Mullins is at 255, struggling a little bit more than we'd like to see. A good surprise is Jorge Mayo at 284. He has 4 home runs, 13 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, playing very well this season. Mountcastle is struggling a little bit with his 252 average, but it is a lot better than his 238 that he finished with last year. And he has 5 home runs and 20 RBIs so far. Austin Hayes is another surprise at a 276 average, only 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, but we did change the lineup a little bit, and we'll see that whenever we get into one of our first games. And the keystone of all of that is our new leadoff hitter, Adley Rutschman. It's a little bit unorthodox having a catcher as a leadoff guy, but he has a 392 on-base percentage, which of our starters is the highest on the team. 291 average, 8 home runs, which lead the team. So I'm thinking for the time being, we're going to keep Adley Rutschman there in that leadoff spot. Gunnar Henderson, we moved him up in last episode. He's hitting 291. Ramon Urias is hitting 208, struggling a little bit. So we moved Jurickson Profar, who is now our everyday third baseman, taking over for Urias, who is having that rough start to the season. Guillorme is hitting well off the bench. Stowers is hitting well off the bench. Well, they haven't gotten very much hits or at-bats. But Connor Joe McCann, they might be on the trade block. We might be looking to move them if they can't up that production a bit. And now that some of you are caught up, that takes us into our first opportunity to look at some scouts here. We talked about Tadahito Takatsu last time. Might be someone who we take with our first pick. And looking at some of these stats, he is very intriguing. First base prospect, catcher as his second position. Looks like a very good hitter. Not very fast, a decent fielder. So I think we'll keep scouting him a little bit. And then the position we scouted was starting pitcher. So some of those guys that we see, Sean Rivera is second on the draft ranking. Almanzar is 5th. Lugo 7th. So a lot of, looks like good talent here at the top of the draft for starting pitcher. And a theme that I'm seeing with these guys is if you look at the pitch velocity, the future rating 65 to 70, 65 to 70, 56 to 61. So not a lot of pitch velocity from these guys here at the top. Bill Ullman actually has the highest I've seen, 92 to 97. Looks like all of his other stuff is somewhat average. And I think for our other scouting positions, we're just going to change these regions, and we'll look at this with next week, see what we have. Well, that takes us back into simulating this last game, and looks like Tyler Wells is going to be out for a few days, but we do win that game 4-2. Dylan Tate gets the win with, looks like a pretty decent offensive day, 9 hits. Profar hit a home run. Santander got a triple. Flaherty went 5 innings, 3 strikeouts, 4 walks, giving up 2, and the bullpen did their job. We sim these next 2 games against Washington and drop both of them. Eric Lauer and Dylan Tate are the losing pitchers. And I think the plan for this week is, we saw in last episode, the Pirates are leading the league in home runs allowed. So I want to have, these 3 games here to see what we can get happening and get in some player lock games, and then a final game here with Jack Flaherty on the mound. And our first look is going to be with Cedric Mullins here. He's hitting 236 on the season. He's dropped down to number 6 in the order, so hoping he can bump that average up a lot. And I don't know if you guys are noticing, but there is a different camera, or a different batter's camera now. I kind of messed around with it a little bit. It's a little bit more zoomed out. I feel like it gives me a little bit better opportunity to read balls and strikes. So hopefully that will help with some of our offensive production problems that we've been having in these episodes. and I strike out, so it made no difference whatsoever. But we get another chance here in the bottom of the fourth. We're up 1 against one of the worst teams in the league. And should have swung at that one way out of the zone. Cedric Mullins could be someone who, you know, maybe at the end of this season we move on from if we feel like we have some youngsters who could take his place. Maybe Colton Cowser, who is in AAA right now and hitting fairly well. I think last time I checked he was at 285 right now. But if this team keeps up, we might be trying to go and getting some playmakers there at the deadline. But Mullins strikes out on a very good changeup against a pitcher who has a 7.06 ERA. Let's try this one more time. Well, maybe a couple more times, but here in the bottom of the 6th for another chance. Singled up the middle to at least get on base. Love to see that. Cedric Mullins is on first and might be looking to steal a base here. I forgot that I cut off base running whenever we're in player lock, so we don't get a chance to see that, but we're in the field now for an easy pop fly into center field. And we get one more chance here with an RBI opportunity. Gunnar Henderson is on third. We are up by 1 in the bottom of the 8th with 2 outs. And Tanaj Thomas, I'm probably butchering his name. Mullins 1 for 3 so far. Looking to be 2 for 4 and an RBI. And hopefully that falls. Nope. And that's the final score, 2-1. The Orioles top the Pirates in the first game of the series. Looks like Henderson, Profar, Toro, and Mateo were all hitless, but they at least, well, most of them pick up a walk. Home run from Santander, Mountcastle hit a double, and Cole Irvin, wow, 6.2 innings, 1 run, 6 Ks. Very nice, improving his ERA. And once again, the bullpen did their job. And I think for this second game of the series, we're going to do pretty much the same thing. And we have Grayson Rodriguez on the mound. He has 7 stars, 2-2 record, 4.02 ERA. Much better than his start last season. And I'm looking for him to hopefully keep that up. But here's the one we care about right now. Ryan Mountcastle, 246 average, 5 home runs, 21 RBIs on the season. Much better start than he had last year. So I'm looking to see what kind of improvements he can make on this season. I'd like to get him to an all-star game, but we'll see if that is in the cards. Got me swinging at a high fastball. Got me swinging at a curveball in the dirt. But able to hold off on that one. Evens it back up at 2-2. Mountcastle has good hitting stats. 71 contact, 73 power. 58 vision, and he has worked this to a 3-2 count. See, maybe we can get a walk out of here. Instead, hit right to the second baseman, but at least he hit it hard. And our second hitting opportunity here in the bottom of the 3rd. We have a man on first. That is Adley Rutschman. Foul off the first strike. Says Mountcastle last game, he was 1 for 3. Had an RBI. Looking to get another one here. Over the head of the shortstop, and Mountcastle will make the turn at first, going in for second. And Rutschman will score. As Baltimore is now down 2-1. I didn't even see the score a while ago. I didn't even know we were down 2. Nice clutch hit from Ryan Mountcastle. We're all tied up here in the bottom of the 5th. Nobody on for Mountcastle. 2 outs. 2-2 ball game. Same pitcher on the mound, Efren Contreras. Able to work this back to a 2-2 count. And hammered down the line to left field, and that will be another double as Mountcastle's making the turn. And will slide in easily at second. Nice hitting from Ryan Mountcastle. Second double of the game, 9th double of the season. And we don't score as Rodriguez gets subbed out for Tyler Wells. And we have a fielding opportunity, seeing O'Neal Cruz. I don't think he's going to try and pick off over here. We're trying to turn 2. And we can't. O'Neal Cruz is just a little bit too fast. And now we're down 5-2. There was a 2-run home run and then a solo home run right after we got that one out. So, you know, you just love to see that. But down here in the bottom of the 8th, Ryan Mountcastle 2 for 3. Looking to get on base, so maybe that somebody behind us can drive us in. But it seems like the rest of the lineup hasn't really got much going today as we ground out to second base. And I think that's just about going to do it for this game. And we do end up losing 5-2. Looks like the back half of our lineup, Profar, Toro, Mateo, they just can't do anything in the past couple games. Doubles from Mountcastle, Henderson and Mountcastle with the RBIs, and Grayson Rodriguez, he allowed a lot of base runners, but only 2 earned runs, 7 strikeouts. He's doing a bit better, but Tyler Wells came in, walked some batters, and then those 2 big home runs were the difference makers in this one. And quickly before we get into this last game of this Pittsburgh series, I do want to look at the scouting since it is a Sunday. And it looks like Tadahito Takatsu is one of the best players in this draft. Draft rank for us is 9th. MLB draft rank is 10th. And I do believe we have a very high draft pick. Let me see. Yeah, we have the number 11th pick. So do we need a first baseman catcher? Maybe a DH? Maybe Mountcastle needs to be replaced. And I think just one more round of this starting pitchers will go with the Central and the West. We see we have, 54% here from Sean Rivera. Has some decent stats, but his velocity break is not that good. Someone I'm not thinking that we should take. But we still have a lot of scouting progress unlocked for a lot of these scouts and a lot more than we had unlocked last season. And one prospect I'm looking at getting a little bit more info on with this Central and West scouting is Greg Galindo. Looks to be one of the best pitching prospects in this entire draft. I don't know why he's 20th and 32nd on the draft rank, but no one else even compares with what his future and even his current attribute ranges look like. And it looks like for first baseman, Sammy Rodriguez has dropped out of the top 10 of our draft rank, so Luis Santana is slightly above him. So I don't think first base is really a spot we want to look at for our first pick, unless it's Takatsu. But if you want to see Santana's ratings, this is what we know. We don't know much about him, but it looks like he has high contact, vision, discipline, fielding. And there's a lot of interesting second basemen here, starting with Enrique Marte. Very good fielder, decent hitter, looks like. He's one of our only position players who are in our top 20 draft ranks, so he might be someone who I will look at further. And then we have like Kevin Davis, very good contact, vision, discipline, it looks like, good fielding, reaction, and speed. Also his switch hitter. And then Yusniel Pacheco, right-handed batter, good contact, decent power, good vision, discipline. One of these guys I'm going to look at, and I think right now I want to get a look at Enrique Marte, and then we will roll with the rest of this. Starting pitcher in the Central and West, get a little bit more unlocked from them, and we can get into this final game of the series with Jack Flaherty on the mound. So we're here in the rubber match with our ace on the mound, Jack Flaherty, who is 4-1 through 8 starts, 2.37 ERA. Coming in and doing exactly what we are paying him to do. And we have our City Connect jerseys on. I wanted to get a look at these, the all black. And the first pitch is a ball to Paul Machado. And I could have swore Paul Machado was a draft pick here. Maybe he is starting his first season here at the Major League level. It looks like he didn't play the minors at all. But he is now leading off for Pittsburgh. Has a 207 average on the season. And a 1-2 count now here from Jack Flaherty. We'll see if he can swing at the curveball, and he does. first strikeout of the game for Jack Flaherty. And their number 2 hitter is Brian Hayes. 277 average. Gets him swinging at the high heat. And that's fouled off, luckily. But a 1-2 count now to Brian Hayes, and we'll see if this knuckleball can get him swinging as well. And doesn't need to, as this called for a strike 3. 2 batters, 2 strikeouts now for Flaherty. Brian Reynolds now steps in an incredible 362 average already through about the first month and a half of the season. And that should have been a strike, but 2-0 count now for Reynolds. Swings at the sinker and evens it back up to 2-2. And I think this cutter inside might just get him swinging. But again, it doesn't need to. 3 up, 3 down, 3 strikeouts for our ace. Now we are facing Roansy Contreras. 8 starts, 2-6 average, 6.1 ERA. That's about what Grayson Rodriguez's stat line looked like last year. Or Adley Rutschman here to start us off. 319 average on the season. I believe his on base is up over 400. Oof. Those are 2 very good pitches. Fastball low and inside, changeup low and away, an 0-2 count for Rutschman. Oh, I thought it was going to dip a little bit low. That's not what we like to have. But here's Austin Hayes looking to maybe up that pitch count, get on base. But instead he pops up the very first pitch, curveball high, and it's the second out of the inning. Batting third is Gunnar Henderson. Shortstop hitting .286, and I talk about this every time, whether we want to think about moving Gunnar Henderson to third base and letting Jackson Holliday slide in at shortstop. I think right now our best bet is probably leaving Henderson at short, letting Holliday play second, and Ramon Urias or Westberg or someone maybe in the future stick there at third base. And evened up to 2-2, but you guys let me know what y'all think about that idea, as that is a slow roller to third and out. Really an uneventful first inning takes us into the second. Jack Flaherty now facing O'Neal Cruz. Very dangerous player, very fast, has some power, good contact, but this one popped into left field and Austin Hayes is there. Now facing Jack Suwinski. 0-1 count already, swung on a curveball, and that's lined down the left field line. Hayes in pursuit, can't cut it off. And Suwinski, the power hitter, is in at second. That was Suwinski's 4th double of the season, as we are now facing Matt Frazier. He's having a much better season than last year. Frazier is hitting .268. I think I just looked at his stats. His last season was at a .216. And we'll see how he likes this knuckle curve bump from Flaherty. Grounded to Profar, who is in at third. And this is the second out of the inning. Now we face Fernando Aguilo, 0-1 already, and escalates into an 0-2 count. And we'll see if we can get the strikeout, as he's patient on the slider outside. If you remember, Fernando Aguila is somebody that I was thinking about getting in free agency, a young first baseman who flies out to Hayes to take us to the bottom of the second. And it's Anthony Santander leading off, hitting .282. Much better than what he had last year and what he started out in spring training. But he won't keep that if I keep swinging at horrible pitches like that. And popped it up to the infield. That's a shame. So we get Mullins, who we already had a player lock game with this episode, as he's patient on the curveball. And I asked you guys some questions about where you think we should go with Mullins. I think he's 29 years old. He might be 30 years old. I just looked and he is 29, so maybe another couple years until he reaches his peak or starts declining. As that's ripped into right field, but easily handled out there. And we get Mountcastle, who we saw in an earlier game as well, hitting 254. I did change the lineup around a little bit. For this episode, I put Austin Hayes at second, dropped Mountcastle down to fifth, and Santander at fourth, hitting cleanup. So, I don't know if it's better, if it's worse. You guys let me know what y'all think about this lineup, where y'all think some of these guys should hit at. Maybe where they hit at in real life if you're an Orioles fan. Yeah, it's just under. Oh, and the slider got me. That was a great pitch. So starting out the third here, Termarr Johnson. In on the hands, fouls it off back to the backstop. And the out pitch that's worked for Flaherty so far this game, that knuckle curve, a ball for 2-2. But I think the fastball high and inside just might be what calls for a strikeout here. And he goes fourth strikeout already for Flaherty, I believe. Maybe the fifth? I've lost count. Guess that's a good thing, huh? And the number 9 hitter, Indy Rodriguez, walks this to a full count. And Paul Machado is on deck. And hammered into right field. So there is a base runner for the top of this Pirates order. Doesn't look like he's very much of a base running threat. So I think we can just pitch to Paul Machado and maybe get a double play out of it. Swings through the sinker, and I think we might can get him with another one, or at least maybe force it into a double play. But we'll go cutter right now. And swings through for his second strikeout of the game. The fifth for Flaherty. And we'll start Brian Hayes out with a curveball, but it's not really close. But looking to hold them to leaving a runner on base. Hayes works this into a full count, so hopefully we don't miss, but we do. Facing now Brian Reynolds, who I think we said earlier had like a 362 batting average. Holy cow. But Flaherty has the talent to get out of the jam. But hit into the right field gap. Mateo in pursuit, and it looks like one run will score. And Pittsburgh takes a lead here in the top of the third. We'll see if Flaherty can stop the bleeding here. Well, I don't know if you can call this bleeding, but stop the paper cut. And he is not hitting his spots at all right now. Looks like we'll have to throw something kind of right down the middle. And we miss again to walk. The base is loaded. Holy cow. I'm going to call a mound visit. We need to. Just come on out. Just talk to him. Bases loaded. Top of the third. 2 outs. Oh, finally we get a strike on the cutter. I'm a little worried to throw it again. None of his pitches are just anywhere close right now. And strikes out to finally end the third, but 2 runs will cross for the Pirates. We need some run support now as we get to the 7, 8, 9 hitters. Profar, the starting third baseman currently. Oh, just missed the curveball. But Profar enters 293 average at the end of episode 1. I believe he was maybe in the low 3s, like a 311 or something. So he has cooled off a bit since the start of the season. But he's still one of our better hitters and better options for third base. So he'll stay there until Ramon Urias breaks out of his cold streak or Profar starts to get in one. Man, I'm just slightly early on all these curveballs. Probably slightly late on all the fastballs. And that one's hit hard, but foul down the right field line. Oh, and after a good battle from Profar, I strike out. The third for Contreras on the day. Abraham Toro, who is on the bubble of maybe getting out of the starting lineup. Maybe Guillorme or Profar takes his spot, but he's only hitting 224. Oh, 2-1 count here for Toro. Works this to a full count with one of our more surprising hitters, Jorge Mateo, coming up, who I did put in the number 9 spot to be a bit of a second leadoff for us. 3-2 count coming, 1 out. Oh, and I was way in front of the fastball. Oh my God. I was too amped up. I knew the fastball was coming. Oh man. But here's Jorge Mateo. He's been a very good hitter for us. 270 average on the season. And pops it up. That was not a good series of events. Look to see if Flaherty has a better fourth than he does the third. Starting off here against Fernando Aguila. A much needed strike. The fastball so far, at least with runners on, hasn't really been working for Flaherty. Maybe it's time to change our strategy a bit. And the cutter is hit softly to third. Profar. Throw is in time for the first out of the fourth. Fouls off the high fastball, and now it's time to change it up a little bit. Let's see how he likes this sinker a little lower. And gets him swinging. Flaherty, aside from that rough third inning, has had a pretty good game today. As the pitch is popped up to Profar for an easy out. And we need a big offensive day coming up. We are no hit right now. And Roansy Contreras is not this good. I'm just swinging at high fastballs for no apparent reason. I would hate to have a loss on the first game that I wear these City Connect jerseys. And oh my gosh, that was terrible. But Adley might make it. And he's safe. Incredible. I am playing horribly, and I need to step it up a lot. And that's not helping. Austin Hayes, I just can't help myself on those high fastballs. It's very difficult. And Austin Hayes is someone who we might be moving on from at the end of this year. He's played well, but oh, just missed the slider. But we'll see how the rest of the season plays out. That was terrible. A 1-2 count here now for Gunnar Henderson. Looking to move Adley Rutschman over at least. Oh my gosh. Waiting for the break. I think I just need to sit on the fastball. I don't think he's throwing those slider, curveball, changeup a lot. He's sticking with the fastball, so I'm just anticipating break that I shouldn't be. Grounded up the middle, and that gets through. Rutschman will test. And safe at third. I'll take anything at this point. And Cedric Mullins hits it into shallow right field, and that is down. So we do get a run on the board, and that's Adley Rutschman. That was a very weak hit from Mullins, but I'll take it. Bringing up Ryan Mountcastle. With 2 runners on, 2 outs in the bottom of the fourth. Swinging at the high fastball once again. And Mountcastle is 350 with runners in scoring position, and I just checked my swing on that slider and struck out. We at least do get 1 run, so that's better than nothing. And Flaherty needs to step his game up a little bit. 74 pitches in. Not being very efficient, but at least getting some strikeouts, not allowing too much damage as Paul Machado pops it up to Hayes for the first out. And here's Cabrian Hayes, 0 for 1 already. And grounds a slider to Henderson at short, and a routine out for him. Brian Reynolds now 1 for 2. He had the hit that scored a run in the 3rd inning, I believe. Here comes the sinker, and he's a bit early. So that just means we're going to throw the cutter low and inside to get this strikeout. And it pops it up to the infield. Profar catches it. Profar in 0 for 1 on the game, but he's had some opportunities to get some solid hits. And they're actually shifting him. I wonder if it'd be possible to lay a bunt down. And grounded right down the line. That was just what they wanted. Abraham Toro struck out his last time. Looking for a better opportunity. And Toro has earned a walk for Jorge Mateo coming on deck. There was just a stat line at the bottom that said Jorge Mateo has a 1.4 WAR, which is 10th in the AL coming into this game. So that shows just how valuable he's been this year. Last year he didn't play. He was like our 4th outfielder, backup shortstop, as he fouls that one off. He just couldn't get anything going, and then this season in spring training he was hitting lights out, so I feel like he deserved to have a spot in the lineup. So we moved Santander to be our DH and Jorge Mateo into right field, and I feel like in that position he's been very good outfielder for us. And Mateo works it full, and even if, say we move on from Austin Hayes, Mateo could be that left fielder as I swung in the dirt. Why did I swing at that? That could have been 2 on. 9 strikeouts already for Roansy Contreras, so I am just swinging at everything today, it looks like. Rutschman, foul ball. 0 for 2 so far for Rutschman. Looking to at least get a hit this time. Get some runners in scoring position. Take the lead. 2-1 count here. And hit deep into center field. Center fielder in pursuit. And end of the 5th. And the 6th starts out with O'Neal Cruz, the cleanup hitter. This is pitch 90 here in the 6th inning. And hit into the left center gap, but Mullins will chase it down. And here is Jack Suwinski, who I believe was the first hit that Flaherty gave up. And luckily that was very much foul. But he's a batter who has a lot of power, not much contact, but if he catches a hold of one, it is going for a ride. And he works it full, so we'll just give him, let's go high and inside fastball. And it's thrown outside. But he picks up the strikeout, so I'll take that. His 8th of the day. And a new pitcher for the Pirates will start off the inning. Raul Fernandez. 4.72 ERA in 34 innings. One of the bright spots on the team, Gunnar Henderson, steps in. Looking to get on base. Ooh, the changeup. And quickly behind 0-2 is Gunnar Henderson. Oh, and strikes out. So up to Anthony Santander for a little bit of hope here in the 6th. And he'll just pop it up to third base. Great. And Tony Santillan will come into the game. 7 games this season. 11 innings, 3.27 ERA. He is somebody we traded for in the first season. And this is really our first chance of getting a look at him. He still has a bit of developing to do. He's 65 overall, C potential, excels at break. But this season, he's been playing fairly well and played last season at Cincinnati fairly well. But he was in the AAA for us. And now he is in the majors making his debut this season. Throws hard fastball at 94 to 99, but I think his breaking pitches is kind of where his bread and butter is at. He brings us back to a 2-2 count, and the slider is fouled back. Change up, hit into center field, but Mullins will make a routine play of it. Facing now Tamar Johnson. And full count now to Tamar Johnson. And Santillan, slider is fouled off. We'll see if he can swing at the changeup here down in the zone. And he does, but directly to Profar, second out. I'm happy with how Santillan has pitched so far. He's fallen behind a little bit from some of these batters, but has been able to come back and get outs. But that time Rodriguez gets a single past Henderson at short. Strike one for Santillan. Strike two on Machado now. And he gets him swinging at the slider to get a strikeout to end the seventh. And three more chances now for the Orioles to come through and get this lead as Raul Fernandez is still on the mound. Interesting that I was very early on that. And hit into the gap, and that's going to be extra bases for Mullins. And he is easily into second base. I thought about pushing it to a triple, but I don't want to get too greedy while we have a base runner in scoring position. His 7th double of the season for Mullins. And this bench is fired up. Ken Giles makes his 12th appearance of the season. We have moved him into our setup role, so he pretty much gets every 8th inning. And Brian Hayes will pop up on the first pitch for the first out. Facing now, Brian Reynolds. Ken Giles, a veteran. I think he's 33 years old, so he's somebody who I added in the first season just as a bit of a veteran presence. And now our our bullpen has gotten a lot better, and he's kind of fighting for a spot. We have some guys in the minors who could make jumps up. So maybe he's somebody who, can get traded at the deadline. Someone who's aging can help another team. Maybe trading for Darwinzon Hernandez, or trading away Darwinzon Hernandez for Jonathan Hernandez that we talked about earlier in the episode, as Ken Giles gets the strikeout of O'Neal Cruz. But yeah, maybe that's something we do. Trade away Ken Giles and Hernandez and move Jonathan Hernandez into the bullpen. After this season, Ken Giles isn't going to be on the team, so we're probably going to need to move on from him anyway. So why not? Wow, I can't believe that stayed up. That's the end of the top of the 8th. And Pittsburgh brings out Dwayne Underwood for the 8th inning. 5.79 ERA, so looks like he's a little bit wild. 9-5 strikeout to walk ratio. So we'll see what Abraham Toro can get done. And looking at his velocities, he has a 4-seam fastball, 94 to 98, so he's got some velocity. 2-2 count. Oh, and just laid to the cutter. Oh, I thought it was going to be a ball outside. But Jorge Mateo's coming in 0 for 2 right now on the season, or on the game. That cutter has just enough break to make you think it's going to be a fastball when it's just going to be just outside the zone. Had me reaching for that one. Hit into left center, and that gets down for a base hit. So Mateo is on first with 99 speed. And it takes us back up to the front of the lineup, the top of the order. And I don't know if I want to steal with Jorge Mateo. I've been thinking about getting a bit more steals as Rutschman hits that to right field and off the glove. And everybody's going to stay there. I was hitting left trigger. I forgot it's L1 or R1 to advance all runners. But we have 2 on. Damn, that could have been a run. And Austin Hayes pops it up to the infield, and we'll just return everyone. And here's Gunnar Henderson coming in with a very clutch opportunity. Just need to put the ball in play for a base hit. And Mateo will take third. And now we have runners in even better position on the wild pitch from Dwayne Underwood. Ooh, it's starting to get exciting. An opportunity to take the lead here in the bottom of the 8th with a 2-0 count to Gunnar Henderson. And I'm not sure if they really want to walk him because I think it's Santander is on deck. And it's now 3-0. Looking for something down the middle of the pipe or else I'm not going to swing. And it is in there for a strike. Ooh, and got me swinging at the changeup. And Henderson has 63 clutch, so it's a higher number than the average of the team. And hits it into center field or right field. Gosh, my audio just cut out. Gunnar Henderson able to come through with a very clutch hit, tie this game up here in the bottom of the 8th. And Anthony Santander, who is 1 for 3, has one of the highest averages with runners in scoring position on the team. 357, right on cue. 1-2 count now to Santander. Oh, the changeup, man, that was bad. And with the tie up here in the 9th, we're going to bring in Aaron Ashby. 10 games on the season, 14 innings, and a 3.86 ERA. 1-0, but I don't know. Can you really count pitcher wins? As wins are a little bit more on the batters, right? Well, that's grounded to first base, and Mountcastle tags the bag for the first out. And it's now Fernando Aguila. 0 for 3 on the day. Hit to Toro, who fields it easily, and that's the second out of the 9th. And now the lefty Termar Johnson, who is also 0 for 3. And pops it up to left field out of bounds, and Hayes is there. And we start here the 9th with our leadoff hitter from last season, Cedric Mullins, who is 2 for 3 so far on the day. I'm actually surprised that he's 2 for 3. And Mullins is a much better hitter against righties than against lefties. But Johan Oviedo, I also didn't say that. I think in the 8th they brought in a new pitcher to end the 8th, and I'm talking about him and I missed the pitch. But yeah, Johan Oviedo came in the top of the top of the 9th or top of the 8th, bottom of the 8th. Wow. I'm just all out of sorts right now. And here's Ryan Mountcastle, who is 0 for 3, looking to at least get on base. Oh, and he got me swinging at the slider. I knew it was coming. Pops it up to the infield, and we are headed to extra innings. And for now, Aaron Ashby has pretty good stamina, so we'll leave him in here for the 10th. And they have a runner on second due to the 10th inning rule. And looks like we're putting ourselves in a bad situation, walking the first batter. Wow. And Paul Machado's sacrifice bunt on the first pitch. Looks like he's going for it again, and Profar is there. At least get the out at first. But that will advance the runners and brings up Ke'Bryan Hayes. And he hits it deep to left field. I believe Austin Hayes will be there, but it might score a run. And it will. And Pittsburgh is now up 3-2 in the top of the 10th. And they want me to intentionally walk Brian Reynolds, but I don't think I'm going to be doing that. I think we'll go ahead and pitch to him. Why not? And the sinker gets him called out, looking on the strike. We have some work to do, and they call in David Bednar. I'm not sure if he's their closer or he is their closer. 9 saves, 9 opportunities. I saw that stat just now. Facing now Abraham Toro with Jurickson Profar at second base. 375 average with runners in scoring position. And fouls off the low fastball. Still 1-2 count. And hit up the middle. Abraham Toro's base hit. And Profar is headed home. And he is safe, and that ties the ball game up again here in the top of the 7th. Great clutch hitting from Abraham Toro just to make contact, bring that runner home. Great job. Looks like the third baseman is playing in shallow for the bunt, but we're not bunting. We don't bunt. We hit dingers. And we haven't hit a dinger yet, but we hit dingers. We don't bunt. 2-1 count now for Mateo. And hit into left field, and that's another base hit. And now we have 2 on it. Looking to end this game. And it's Adley Rutschman, our team leader in home runs. One of the best players on the squad. And I was way out in front of that fastball. Or just early, not too bad. And you see Rutschman isn't hitting very well with runners in scoring position. Only a 125 average. But with no outs, all we really need is for him to get on base. Maybe a deep fly ball to advance a runner would work as well. And that will be popped up into center field, and O'Neal Cruz is there. So now Austin Hayes looking to be the savior of the game. 0 for 4 day so far. Only a 146 average with runners in scoring position, so not much better than Rutschman, but that's hit up and infield fly. This has gone south very quickly. We need Gunnar Henderson to come up clutch for us. We just need a base hit here in the bottom of the 10th. And that's right to O'Neal Cruz. I thought it could have been over his head. But Abraham Toro coming in clutch. And Aaron Ashby is still out to start the 11th. He does have very good stamina, so don't think that this is me overdoing him. You can see right now his energy is still fairly high. And I think it's probably in our best interest to roll with him, especially against the middle of the order that's coming up here for the Pirates. And gets O'Neal Cruz with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Facing now Jack Suwinski, who has had a good hit here in the beginning of the game, but since then hasn't been able to do much. He will advance the runner. And now the Pirates are looking at Matt Frazier. And gets him swinging, and he goes. And that will take us to the bottom of the 11th and another chance to end this game. And it's Santander starting us off here in the 11th with, I believe that's Gunnar Henderson at second. So a good bit of speed, not much stealing ability. But Santander has a 1-0 count to start it. Ooh, and a 1-1 count as I swung through the curveball. I wasn't expecting it, but it looks like he has a fastball, curveball splitter. Oh, the curveball. I wasn't expecting him to throw that. I should have known though. He's not going to give me anything to hit. I'm not going to get anything to hit with a runner in scoring position. We have a 58% win percentage, so we need Ryan Mountcastle to get us a hit here, please. Oof. Oh, way in front of that. God, that curveball is so slow. And we'll keep Ashby in there in the 12th. Why not? He's already pitched 2 innings. Here's a third. Mateo, can he get the runner at home? He throws home. And up the line, off the target. So Pittsburgh does get a run here in the bottom of the 12th, or top of the 12th. And it just tells me now Aaron Ashby's starting to get tired, so we will warm somebody up in the bullpen. And right now we have Keegan Aiken, so we'll warm him up, and Dylan Tate. And those 2 straight pitches that should have been strikes, the umpire's not giving me. So With that, we are going to make a mound visit and make a change. And it's going to be Dylan Tate since we have 3 righties due up. But 3.21 ERA on the season. And this is a great game for a relief pitcher showcase. And they say he didn't go, so it's now full count here to Indy Rodriguez. And I think we just got to go regular sinker. And he'll just foul it off. That's a bad pitch. And he walks and bases are loaded. Oh my God. This is horrible. Trying to get Paul Machado out. He swings through the slider. Oh, that's in no man's land, isn't it? Come on, Mateo. You got the speed. Oh my. And we've allowed another run. That's terrible. Oh, another hit for Dylan Tate. And that's another 2 runs allowed. And we have to bring in another pitcher. He's allowed, I think, 4 runs, 3 runs, 5 runs already in this inning. Keegan Aiken comes in now to try and get us out of this situation. Hayes throws home. And not in time. And we get O'Neal Cruz swinging. Man, Dylan Tate just shit the bed, huh? And he gets us out of the 12th. Finally, holy cow, that was just terrible. But they do have a pitcher coming in who has a 9.75 ERA. So here's hoping we can get something going. Score 5 runs here in the 12th. I can't believe Dylan Tate just did that. 5 runs in the top of the 12th. Oh, and just late on the pitch. Oh, man, that could have been gone. So here's Abraham Toro with 1 down, trying to get a little something going. They scored all 5 of those runs with no outs. Softly into right field. And caught, and we'll just go back to second. I tried to have a good offensive day today, and it's just not working. Oh, just late again on the fastball. Oh, nope, that time it was early. Okay. And that is the game. Pittsburgh wins 8-3 after a 5-run 12th inning. Are you shitting me? That was just terrible. We had as many hits as they had runs. Well, they had 8 hits also, but double out of Cedric Mullins. Flaherty had a good day, but Aaron Ashby and Dylan Tate giving up 4 runs. Just a terrible last inning. And Dylan Tate didn't even get an out, so leave that in mind. 2 earned runs for him with no innings pitched. I'm very sorry about that loss, guys. We're just going to keep simulating and take us into the end of May as we are at least able to sweep Oakland. It's good to see that the team succeeds when I'm not actually playing. And Heston Kjerstad is going to be out for 6 months. And for that move, we're going to be moving Dylan Beavers up to AAA. And we're going to be moving Robert Mora, an A potential center fielder, into AA, so we'll get to see how he's playing after the end of the month. And that will take us into simulating even further. So it looks like Jack Flaherty will be out for a day or 2. But we simulate to finish out the week, and we lose this game against the Dodgers, and that takes us to Sunday. And another look at scouting and Enrique Marte. Looks like his future stats have gone down, but he still looks like an amazing fielder. And then some of these starting pitchers that we got to look at, or kind of looked at more, I should say. Greg Galindo was somebody who moved up. His pitch velocity went down, 74 to 79. Looks like his 4-seam, 93 to 98. I just learned you can press square and get all of this information. I think Milton Locke is someone that we're going to get a little bit of a highlight on. He's a right fielder. We're a little bit outfield needy. You know, if Heston Kjerstad can't stay healthy, that's something that we need to look to address. Milton Locke looks like he has some power. He has an arm. He has some speed maybe in the outfield. So we'll look to see what he brings to the table. And I think I want to take a look at some of these left fielders. We have International, Central, East, International, Central, International. So I think we'll look right now at the International and the East. Now, I do wish that you could kind of get these a little bit more. Instead of just searching for left fielder, I wish you could kind of search for just straight up outfielder, but we'll finalize that for this week. And we are currently 27-19, still 2.5 games above the Yankees in the AL East. So even those, games that I didn't play very well didn't impact us too much. But we end our last game against the Dodgers with a loss, 2-5, with Eric Lauer picking that up. We take one from Houston, winning 6-2 with Cole Irvin on the mound. Felix Bautista looks like he blew a save here, 4-6. With Jack Flaherty against San Francisco, we win 2-0. Second game, Eric Lauer picks up a loss. He's 3-5 right now on the season, so not playing very well. And unfortunately, he is in a cold streak with a 5.26 ERA, 1.68 WHIP. We could move him down to the majors if he needs to, get a little bit of a brush up, but he is technically our third best pitcher behind Grayson Rodriguez ratings wise. We'll ride it out, see how he goes. And it looks like Milton Locke is just pretty much a pure power guy. He does have a lot of speed. Looks like he doesn't have a lot of vision, doesn't have a lot of discipline, so we'll maybe look at another outfielder. For these position scoutings, I'm just going to change it from the East and International to Central and the West. And we'll check back in on what that says on next episode, because I don't think we'll get to it this time. And I think we're going to highlight Alex Moya. Looks like he's a very good hitter, decent fielder, good arm strength, 20% on the scouting progress. We scouted him last time because he's one of these left fielders, but I want to get a look and see, what we can know a little bit more about from him. So we'll finish out this series against San Francisco, and looks like Dean Kramer got injured in his start today, but still picks up the win, 6-2. We pick up 2 out of 3 from the Cubs, and then I'll leave this Yankees. Well, actually, we'll go ahead and send me this Yankees game. Why not? We win 8-7. Dylan Tate picks up the win. He's 5-1 on the season, but I don't know. I just couldn't pitch very well with him. We end this episode sitting at 33-24, half a game up of the Rays, 3 games up on the Yankees. We're sitting pretty well, a lot better than I thought we were going to do today. We're 15th in the MLB, 3rd in defense, so we have very good defense. Maybe we can move away from some defense with maybe the next draft picks or next free agency period. Looks like some of our minor league updates. Corey Shartner did not have a good month. Perez didn't have a good month either as a relief pitcher. Paul Howell played very well. The second baseman, a potential second baseman in Double-A, hit .397. Taron Vavra had a good month as well. Richard Jankovic had a good month, the relief pitcher from Double-A. Bruce Zimmerman with a very good month out of Triple-A. And looking at our stats, we have some players who have cooled off. Anthony Santander is at .260 with 7 home runs and 33 RBIs. He's not even leading the team in home runs. That would be Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson with 11 and 10 respectively. Cedric Mullins has a .242 average, which is a lot lower than we would like to see from him, but on par with what he had last year. Maybe he's somebody who we can move on from and bring up Colton Cowser, who is playing lights out right now. .313 average. I feel like it might be a time to call him up. You guys let me know in the comments if you think it's time to give Colton Cowser a shot at the majors. But back to the majors, we have Jorge Mateo still hitting fairly well, .264 compared to .194 that he hit last season. Mountcastle at .260 with 8 home runs and 31 RBIs. Austin Hayes .266. Adley Rutschman .322, still playing lights out. Abraham Toro .237. Henderson .277. Profar has cooled off a bit, and he's actually in a cold streak now. And Ramon Urias has come out of his. So I'm thinking that we're going to put Ramon Urias back at third, let Profar get a little bit of a rest, and maybe look for a way to get Guillorme and Kyle Stowers into the lineup They've been playing fairly well whenever they get opportunities. For our pitchers, Flaherty is pitching extremely well. Cole Irvin, just under a 5 ERA, sitting at 5-4. Dylan Tate somehow has a 5-1 average after that horrible outing that I had with him. Dean Kramer's pitching very well, a 3.12 ERA. Tyler Wells, not too bad either, but he is 4-3. Eric Lauer's 3-5, so he is not having a good season. Maybe we need to drop him down in the rotation, maybe give him some time at the minors, but you guys let me know what y'all think is best. Grayson Rodriguez is now on a cold streak, but pitching much better than he has in previous season. 6.02 ERA last year and now at a 4.84. So improvements all across the board is what we like to see. And I believe that's exactly what we're seeing with all of these advanced numbers. At the minor league levels, all of these are kind of a little bit different because we have, two guys who haven't played very much. But Colton Cowser is hitting .313 in 200 at bats. So I'm thinking it might be a time that we need to call him up before he starts falling out. And I don't know who we can supplant him with. Maybe Cedric Mullins is someone that, he might have to sit the bench, maybe against lefties, only play against righties. What's his advanced numbers look like a bit? Yeah, it looks like Mullins has a 139 average against lefties, but honestly, I'll go through all of these off camera. Ramon Urias 150 against lefties. Maybe Profar, he's better against lefties. Maybe we get a platoon with Profar and Urias. He's hitting better against righties, so I think that might be the move. And it looks like Colton Cowser hits both lefties and righties, so I don't know. You guys let me know what y'all think. Dylan Beavers, who just got called up, he's hitting .324. Jordan Westberg, .269 in AAA. He's on a cold streak, but still not too bad, hitting .269. Kjerstad, who's injured and is going to miss the rest of the season, .267 through 34 games, 3 home runs, 18 RBIs. And I don't know if Heston Kjerstad is going to be on this team much longer. We don't even have a year of eligibility, and he's eligible for the Rule 5 draft. Ortiz hitting .262, and looks like no one else in AAA is hitting very well. For our pitchers, do we have anyone playing just amazingly? Joey Crable in 21 innings, a 1.29 ERA. Like I said, he might be somebody that we think about trading, and you guys let me know in the comments if y'all think that you would like to see that. But Bruce Zimmerman's pitching well. Kevin Smith, Seth Johnson. Darwinzon Hernandez is pitching well, but we still might give him the boot. And in AA, let's see what we have here. We have Percy Kutch, our draft pick, hitting .370 with 3 home runs and 20 RBIs. Does he get a call up to AAA? And if he does, who does he replace? Does he come up to AAA to be on the bench? Does he come up to AAA to start? He is higher rated than Vavra and Connor Norby, who's up here. And Connor Norby's hitting .234. So he could theoretically be sent down to AA to get a little bit more experience. But Percy Kutch is playing very well. Very good contact. That's the only thing that's gone up, actually. Paul Howell is hitting well also. .326 average. 12 RBIs through 95 at-bats. Malcolm Beasley's hitting well through limited at-bats. Alex Ramirez, .282. Very, very solid. Maybe he is someone who I could replace Heston Kjerstad with if Beavers, who we called up, doesn't play out, or if somebody else in AAA is not playing very well. Juan Caruso, the catcher, he's injured for a couple days right now, but hitting .281. Maybe he's somebody who can get called up to AAA. I don't believe any of our AAA catchers are hitting very well. Plevecki's at .264. Samuel Basallo is hitting at .200, so maybe Basallo gets sent down to AA, and we can move Juan Caruso up to AAA. He's playing a lot better than his overall, probably due to his high contact rating. But you guys let me know about that. Caden Grenier, a shortstop. We're very shortstop heavy. .274 average, and that's pretty much the only other thing that is standing out. And for our AA pitchers, we have Cameron Dickinson, who is one of our most recent draft picks. Relief pitcher with 2-1 record, a 1.46 ERA, and a 1.05 WHIP. So good outing so far from him. Robin Lindstrom is pitching well. Blaine Knight is pitching well. Jorge Valido, one of our draft picks, his stats are getting higher, is pitching fairly well, has 7 holds through 13 games. Solomon Wall, unfortunately, is not pitching well at all. A 6.12 ERA, a 1.67 whip, but, you know, his attributes are going up. He's 2-3, and for some reason has a 1.11 WAR. Is that because he has 81 strikeouts in 57 innings pitched? That is crazy. What's his K per 9? His K per 9 is sitting at 12.72, so he gets the strikeouts. We just need that the hit per 9 to come up a little bit, and I think we'll be in a good spot for Solomon Wall. And for our team statistics, our team rankings, it looks like we've dropped a little bit in batting average. We're now 13th at 261. We're 18th in runs scored with 236. We have 97 doubles on the season. We're still first in triples, leading by 5, so that's good to see, I guess. We've dropped a lot in home runs, and I think that could be partly my fault because I'm just not good at hitting in this game, but we're 26th with 59. We have 236 RBIs. Our stolen base numbers are down a bit, and we're 26th in the league. And I'd like to have more stolen bases, but we get in this situation where we get behind and I finally get somebody on base and I don't want to steal to, you know, lose that advantage. So I think I just have to work on it a little bit more. Our pitchers, strikeouts, we are 5th with 379. So our pitchers are playing well, I believe. We're 14th in ERA with 3.74. Flaherty leads us with a 2.98. We're tied for 6th in saves with 21. Thank you, Felix Bautista. We've allowed the 10th amount of runs, 223, and I think that has helped us a lot. We've allowed 211 earned runs and allowed, 80 home runs. So we are giving up a lot of home runs, which is a bit unfortunate. The strikeouts were tied for 11th with 432. I think the strikeouts that I saw earlier must have been our hitter strikeouts, so we are striking out a ton. No, we're the 5th least struck out team, so that's a good sign. But that's where we're going to leave it here. We're sitting at 33 and 24. You guys let me know what y'all think down in the comments if y'all enjoyed the episode. I know that the offense wasn't quite there, but I'm thinking next episode we're going to be playing player lock games. I want to try and get as many player lock games as I can. So you guys let me know who y'all like to see us play against. Maybe we play some games against the Yankees, get a player lock game with this series, maybe against Boston, maybe against all of our conference opponents we could play against. So the Rays, Yankees, Blue Jays, Red Sox, as we are 35 days away from draft day, and we might actually go into this first week of July so that the episode after that will be our draft and our All-Star Game special. Leave your comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it. If you stuck around this far, I appreciate it. And I will see you all next time, and have a great day.